Life Audio.
Today on Talk About That, John has to relearn geometry and tries his best not to be a bad sports parent. Meanwhile, I reminisce about school supplies that were also implements of carnage and reveal the history behind National Waffle Day. Plus a conversation about disagreeing with someone without being disagreeable. Today's episode is not sponsored by high-heeled shoes, when you want to make yourself look taller and have throbbing foot pain. But first, a word from our actual sponsor.
Johnny, we're back. Another episode of Talk About That.
You can't stop us.
No, man. People have been trying.
People have been pretty supportive.
Yeah. You always got that one person, though, that sends that one email.
That's you.
That's me. I don't think I've ever got a negative email from our listeners. And I don't think I would care enough to go find something and send a negative email to it. I'm not that... I don't have the troll gene.
You know what I've noticed since you've become a parent, though, that I think you sympathize more with the parents from your youth group than ever before, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, used to be like, these parents, they ruin youth sports. They ruin trying to be a youth pastor over here, and they want to, blah, blah, blah. You're like, ugh. And now you say things sometimes I'm like, bro, you sound exactly like these parents.
I don't remember complaining about.
You were frustrated.
You know what? You always remember things as it benefits you in the moment.
Yeah, that's how it works.
You cracked me up. You came to my daughter's game last night.
I did.
And it was the first game of the season.
And they got the win. Coincidence?
So Sadie just got her eligibility. She's changed schools.
Right.
And we had to apply.
Transfer portal.
Yeah, it was the whole thing. But in Tennessee, you have to sit.
NIL.
She's got her whole...
She getting some NIL money?
I wish.
Is there a duffel bag of cash making its way to your house?
I want those McDonald's bags. I would take one of those, just like the...
You would take a McDonald's bag with McDonald's in it, probably. Wouldn't that be great if you open your NIL, you're like, hey, I've been hearing they've dropped off McDonald's bags full of cash. You're like, yours had cash? I had a McGriddle.
I signed a 4-year deal over it. That's funny. But so she just now knows she can play varsity. So she's been practicing JV all summer. And so they were like, hey, you're going to play both this time. And so it was a team we were killing. She didn't get into the third set. And I was like, what do you mean you were texting? You were down the other end of the bleachers. Right. And I was like, I saw the coach walk over before the third set and talk to her. And I was like, just talk to coach. This might happen. And then so after the game...
And I put exclamation point. I emphasized that text, because we were sitting opposite sides of the bleachers from each other. We weren't talking to each other. And I looked at Curry, I go, I think John just told me that he texted the coach. Because you said, just talk to coach, ... I think she's getting in or whatever.
I assume that all of y'all are watching what I'm watching, you know?
That the coach just talked to her.
Sadie just talked to the coach.
But you didn't say Sadie. You just said, just talk to coach. I was like, oh my gosh.
After the game,
John over here bullying the coach?
Dude, did you text the coach during the game to tell her? I was like, no, I meant the coach just talked to Sadie or Sadie just talked to the coach. But I looked at the text. I was like, I can absolutely see how you think that.
Yeah.
But
you're just going thumbs up, thumbs down. You're doing a little...
But back to your point about being a parent, I think you were like, oh, that tracks for John. That's exactly what he would do.
He's an insane person now.
If I had, listen, I do have the coach's numbers, but no, I would not text her in a game. Here's the thing. She's 16 now. I can't.
No.
I did go in and talk to them when she got her eligibility.
Right.
And that was a good talk and everything. But
listen, I've always been told the best ability is eligibility.
Come on now.
Wait
a second.
Is that it? Available.
I don't know.
Available.
I don't really do euphemisms. Wait, that's not a... What is that, a colloquial?
It's a colloquialism.
Is that
the best ability, John?
Is an axiom. No, it's an aphorism.
Aphorism.
There you go. Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, it's one of those. But eligibility I would put up there with availability. Because you can be available but not eligible.
Come on.
You know?
Guys, isn't that just like our...
Mm-hmm. Isn't that just like our volleyball lives?
Some of y'all
been stranded on a desert island. You've been speaking to volleyballs. You're making up dialogue that ain't even there.
Come on now.
So here's what I heard. This is funny about this because you'll love it because it's volleyball.
Yeah.
You love volleyball.
I love it.
Family Guy did a great cutaway one time where Peter's the character from Castaway, and he's like, Wilson. And then the volleyball goes, my name is Voight, idiot. I just thought that was so stupid. Okay, so anyway, when he was doing that movie, he was kind of going crazy, and he befriends this volleyball.
Right.
And he puts his little bloody handprint on it.
Well, he didn't mean to put the bloody palm on it.
Oh, right. But he suddenly, it's like, that's his only friend and whatever. Because you lose your mind. You're by yourself. And so I saw this thing on Twitter, and it was a whole thread about that movie. And I don't know if it's true or not, but it seemed like it had very, specific details. And it said that they would do dialogue from Wilson to Tom Hanks. So they wrote dialogue, and he would so that he would react the right way, and then they just cut it out for the film.
Wow!
So I don't know if it was ever going to be in there that he was hearing it in his head. He was hearing the volleyball, and they just decided it's better if he just reacts. But they did to give him the right beats for the dialogue. They were like, so somebody was doing the roll of the ball off camera.
I wonder if that's in the credits.
I don't know. Maybe it's in the director's cut or whatever. When they do all those director's commentaries.
I wonder what the voice sounded like.
Yeah.
Like,
might have just been Robert Zemeckis. Who did that movie? Was it Robert Zemeckis? I can't remember who did that movie.
Wasn't it Spielberg?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Zemeckis did Forrest Gump, but I can't remember if he did Castaway.
Spielberg did Forrest Gump.
Might have been. No, it was Robert Zemeckis.
I don't think so.
John.
You don't think Spielberg did Forrest Gump?
Don't think so. I think it was Robert Zemeckis.
Okay, hold on. We were talking about directors or producers?
I think he was director.
Who directed Forrest Gump?
Pretty sure it's Robert Zemeckis. Answer. Answer. Robert Zemeckis. Yeah.
But
was Spielberg involved at all?
Who produced?
Is there a Steven Spielberg? Yes, I was right.
Producer. I don't see him anymore.
Yeah, he's not. But what about Castaway now? Go to Castaway and see if you were right about that one.
Directed or
just who directed Castaway?
Who?
It's probably neither one.
Directed Cast.
This is why we need. This is why we need a producer.
No, I am the producer and the director.
John, you're holding up the whole show.
No way, Robert Zemeckis.
Is it really?
He did both.
Man, so I was. So what do you want to say to me?
Well, you got this one wrong. I will admit.
Yeah.
That I was wrong. I had to admit I was wrong to my daughter.
Really? Oh, that's a bummer. Because she thinks you're perfect, right?
No.
No?
No, I've been admitting I was wrong a long time.
Oh, no.
But it was, I forget what it was. It was on a math thing. I was up after the game last night. I had to teach myself.
Yeah, you told me this is crazy.
She has a geometry test today.
So you had to do it for her and give her all the answers.
No.
Say, here's how you do crib notes.
Well, I mean, the thing was, I haven't taken geometry since.
Sweetie, they're going to think this is a tattoo. But what you do is...
Right. What you do is, And I it took me an hour to figure out a formula that's not even, and it's not in her book. It's not in her notes.
This is crazy. This is my favorite part. I was like, John, did you just invent a new kind of geometry?
No, I found the formula. But I didn't know when it was applied because the problems all look, and there was two formulas for problems that look exactly the same. And
this is some Goodwill Hunting stuff.
It took me a while to I was on the window over there.
Yeah.
But we figured it out and made up, and then I made a little visual where she could tell the difference. So I did invent that, a visual to know when to use what we called it a partition formula versus a point between two coordinates formula.
Tell me this. Do you know any adults that still do math in the air? Do you know when they do the whole thing where they go like carry the 4 and then
they all use their phones now?
Okay, but math in the air does not bother me. But I've seen people erase before in the air. I don't like that where they're like da 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 and then they go no.
Take it out. Yeah, when I do that, I always go.
Just blink your eyes and it's gone. You don't have to erase the air.
When I see it, I'm always impressed because I can't remember that much unseen like in the air. Like that's not how my brain works. For whatever reason.
You need to put it on the window.
Yeah, I need to see it.
And make a formula out of thin air.
If you said it.
And then forget it. That's the Ronco food dehydrator.
That's...
Boy. But then you told me in geometry class today.
Yeah.
Tell me this.
So she sent me a text. She goes, so I'm not in geometry class because the geometry teacher and the class before us are trapped in the room.
Oh, boy.
I was like, what? Is the door broken? She's like, yeah. And she's laughing hysterically at the text. Like, it's a lot of LOLs and stuff.
Right.
And she thinks it's very fun. A lot of all caps.
A lot of crying, laughing emojis.
Yeah. And so she's like, I can hear them cutting the door off right now.
Hold on.
Yeah.
That's the go-to?
I don't know.
Okay, first of all, it's geometry class. How about a lever?
Have you ever thought about that?
Come on.
Give me a lever, I can move
Some
a door.
guy comes up, like, wearing a toga. He's like, I am Archimedes. It's a big object lesson for the kids.
The
They're
whole
like,
time.
Arca who?
The whole time, and the teacher's like, none of you figured it out. Well, I was thinking maybe they weren't cutting the door. Maybe Sadie was hearing a drill just taking the hinges off. That would have made more sense to me.
Yeah.
Cutting a
Maybe
door
they had
means
to
like
cut the metal part
it's like
of
the
it.
classroom had an accident and we have to go get the jaws of life or whatever to get them out. But anyway, I don't know,
Did she get out?
She wasn't in there. She was in a different class, but some other people. But she did say I didn't take the test.
It would be weird to just be in class and then hear just a saw going.
Yeah,
That's unsettling.
no,
I don't like it.
no. Anyway, I don't know. Doors, not a sponsor.
No, who is a sponsor though, John? Would you like to tell us who our sponsors are today?
I would love to tell us, man.
We don't know. We don't know until
We're about to find out.
we're sure they're fine people. We appreciate our sponsors, John.
Yeah, let's just take a moment and hear a few words from them. I went back and listened to our sponsors last week.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they were both like major, I think it was like Home Depot or something.
it's a good one. I used to be a Home Depot employee.
Yeah.
Proud Home Depot employee.
Like Progressive Insurance or something. It was, they were all pretty mainstream.
Yeah. Were you? Tell me this, because we were back on geometry. You were good at math in school, correct?
Yeah.
Do you remember a bunch of geometry stuff?
Geometry would be the thing I would remember the least.
Yeah, you wouldn't use it ever.
No.
I mean, if you're figuring out, like, I know how to figure out square footage of a room. You just go length by width and you just multiply it. That's pretty much it. If I was laying carpet in a room,
Yeah.
or I'm trying to figure out square footage of a wall to hire a painter, I'd be like, this is how many square foot.
Yeah.
They charge $3 a square foot for painted
You're figuring out area.
Yeah, I would figure out area. So I know how to do that, but that'd be it. That would be all of it.
I recall enough. I actually like when there's an algebraic application to geometry because algebra is the way my brain and Sadie's brain. But she's actually been pretty good at geometry too.
Yeah.
But when like there's three angles or whatever, and you know that they're complementary, and so you take the equation that 10 minus x is this line, and then 2x plus 3 is this one. You either make them equal to each other or whatever. But again, it's all the algebraic applications that make
my head already hurts. I do remember, though, that when I got into 9th grade, and maybe even 8th, is when they start doing the pre-algebra stuff, that school supplies day was a big day. You get excited, and that's when you knew you were going to get some, like, real gear. You're like, I'm getting a protractor. I'm getting a compass.
Yeah.
There's I could gouge people with this. This is a sharp implement.
It really was
doom.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they still sell compasses?
You couldn't take a compass on an airplane. We sent it into a school.
Do kids still use a traditional compass?
She's not. I don't think she has a compass.
To
she
draw
does have a
circles
protractor.
and such. Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
How do they draw circles? They just bring a bowl or a saucer from your house?
I think you could draw half a circle with a protractor and then...
Oh, yeah.
Man,
but
there's a whole
compass gives you the right size that you need.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I need
to find out
so
if
you
she
don't
got
remember,
a compass.
Well, you didn't buy the school supplies. Just be honest. You're an absentee father. You don't even know what school supplies your kid has. You're like, I think she's in geometry. I don't know.
We have a system. The math comes to me.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm very involved in the math. But like Laura's very involved in the sciences. So,
I just remember seeing a rhombus for the first time and thinking it was made up.
Really?
Thinking, am I being punked? All the other shapes look like a real thing. A rhombus looks like, it's like a rock you just found somewhere. Like, oh, that's a rhombus. No, it's not. Stop it.
I mean, at best, it's a parallelogram.
Yeah.
Right.
Tennessee's a parallelogram.
It's also kind of a rhombus because a rhombus is a parallelogram.
You just blew my mind. Teach me your ways.
But a parallelogram is not necessarily a rhombus. Anywho.
John, do teach us some of your ways by, let's go into your quote of the week segment.
Yeah, this is a little segment we call They Talked About That. I'm still coming back a little bit from the COVID.
You don't sound. Yeah, you still have a little.
This is the least I've coughed.
Rasp. You got a little tickle still. You got a little tickle. Don't give it to me, buddy. I'm getting ready to go on vacation.
I keep getting these Coke Zeros after lunch, and they
that'll
really
help.
keep getting me
to
cough more. But I still want it, and I still do it. And I don't know why.
I don't either.
I've used this before, but I just think it's so key. I return to it often. There's probably not a week goes by that somewhere in either a sermon or a counseling or a conversation that this quote doesn't come up. It's Rupertus Maldinius.
Oh my gosh.
17th century Lutheran theologian.
Wow. I think Rupertus Maldinius threw you off.
It did. Lutheran theologian.
Emphasis on the wrong syllable.
He says, in essentials, unity. In doubtful things, liberty. In all things, love. And interesting, this is usually just again, theological sort of application, but I was actually in a kind of a counseling, almost mediation type thing for a family. And I actually used this, and it made a big difference, because whenever you're at a disagreement with someone, even on a personal front, especially if you have history, then you end up you end up arguing over things that are very detail driven. And when I talked about the idea that if we can all agree to what is essential in these issues, then we can take the doubtful things and not focus on them, right? And I'm even thinking about, I know we just had the RNC, last month, and the DNC just happened. And, so much is happening that is us versus them conversation. Right. And I do think that the ones who are communicating the most clearly are reminding us, or telling us, maybe if we don't know, what from the American historical viewpoint was supposed to be essential for us. Mm-hmm. And so I think when you decide what's essential, but right now, some people think one thing's essential and that everything else is not. And if we don't agree on essentials, we're in trouble.
Right.
Right. And so I think that's in life, in theology, obviously that's the application here. It would be, hey, there are some today that believe wearing pants or not wearing pants is essential to salvation, and others believe, they think you should wear something.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, not like walk around no pants, but a skirt or whatever.
A toga.
Right.
Archimedes, shout out.
There you go. And there are others who believe, that what day of the week you go to church is the most essential thing. And someone else believes that whether you use an instrument or not is an essential thing. And I'm not saying those things aren't important to them, but that's why I love the creeds, because they say, well, hey, in the 1st and 2nd century, this is what the early church and the apostles considered to be essential. And so when you begin to now use the lens of, I'm not going to freak out. I can have a preference. That's fine. I can even think it's a theological truth. I can even think that this is what God wants me to do. I can even think that the other way is not the right way to do it. But I still have to ask the question, is it essential to the faith? Is it essential to what we believe about our relationship with God? And in those things, I want to be unified. But in the doubtful things, I'd rather show liberty and mercy than I would just freak out about the essentials.
Yeah, and it's not just not enter into disagreements in bad faith, meaning like I'm going to assume the worst about this person because we differ on these things. Yeah, that's kind of, I think, what you see a lot going on. So have good faith arguments.
Yeah, I had a publisher, we were talking about that. There was a book I just finished up with someone that has a whole lot of landmines in the current sort of culture wars that we could have stepped on. And I have a tendency to do a lot of disclaiming, as you know, and I want to get all the things out of the way that could, trip you up or whatever, or answer all your questions before you can ask them. We were going through that, and I thought he said something that was really interesting. He goes, yeah, if someone's coming to the book in bad faith, there's nothing we're going to be able to do to stop them from doing that. So we're going to have to at some point invite people to come in good faith, and hope that those are the readers who come. I thought that was a really good thing.
Yeah, like there's, I think I saw that on Twitter one day. It was like, there are people in your life who are going to make it their life's mission to misunderstand you, no matter what. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have to admit they just don't belong in your life anymore. Like they wake up every day dedicated to misunderstanding you.
Wow.
They're don't hear what I didn't say. That's what I want to say sometimes to people. Like, don't hear what I didn't say. Mm-hmm. At least judge me on what I said.
Yeah.
But sometimes we enter into a conversation. We already have our mind made up. So we're hearing things that weren't even said sometimes because we imagine what that person's thinking, what other beliefs might be attached to that.
Yeah.
You're making assumptions. So,
or you bring in whatever you have
Yeah.
You assume their tribe, or you've heard someone else in their tribe,
Right.
and you apply. You hold them responsible for everything
Right.
that's been said that you already. That's good. I like it, Johnny. Rupertus Muldenius.
That guy.
That guy. In Essentials, Unity, and Doubtful Things.
If I was him, I would just be like, I'm Rupert Muldoon. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he moved to the U.S.,
Right.
he would get so tired of saying, what is
Imagine
it again?
trying to get his Starbucks
What
cup.
is it again? Rupert Muldoon.
We got a drink for,
And then it'd be Robert Muldoon. And then Bob Muldoon.
Right. And then...
And
you can't go much lower than Bob.
And then Jake, for some reason. No, that's weird. John, it's time. Let's do Johnny's old jokes. John, this is an old street joke I'd never really heard before, and I like it. So I wanted to share it with the. I don't have a credit for it, so I don't know who. It's one of those. That's kind of true of some of these jokes where they just kind of float in the culture, and then people tell them. It's almost like a little lore behind them. A man is flying in a hot air balloon and realizes he's lost. He reduces height and spots a man below. He lowers the balloon farther and shouts, "Excuse me, can you tell me where I am?" The man below says, "Yes, you're in a hot air balloon hovering 30 feet above this field." "You must be an engineer," says the balloonist. "I am," replies the man. "How did you know?" "Well," says the balloonist, "everything you've told me is technically correct, but it's no use to anyone." The man below says, "You must be in management." "I am," replies the balloonist, "but how did you know?" "Well," says the man, "you don't know where you are or where you're going, but you expect me to be able to help. You're in the same position you were before we met, but now it's my fault." That's
Wow.
that's one of those like class warfare kind of jokes, about, we're, my tribe is right and your tribe is wrong kind of things. Yeah. You must be one of these because
That's good.
Yeah, it is interesting though.
I like it.
All right, John. That was Johnny's old jokes. And now we're going to head into our last segment of the day. It's called Talk About Then. John, this week in history, August 21st, to be specific, at the time of this recording, the 50th state, Hawaii. This was the day that they became the 50th state. I wonder why
67?
No, not even close. 59.
Oh, well, that's not.
I was going to ask you the year.
Too far
50. That's 8 years.
67 is late. I'm sorry, guys.
59.
Don't listen anymore.
Is it interesting, though, that we just stopped adding states? I guess that whole colonialism and, manifest destiny vibe of the culture, at some point we were like, maybe we're good.
It's a bad look. Yeah, 50 is a nice round number.
And, Puerto Rico's a territory, but I guess it's far enough away that it's like you can't really, although Alaska's really, really far away.
I was going to say, that
so we could, why not
water.
Guam? Why not Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
As a 53rd and 54th state. Why isn't Puerto Rico a state? I wonder.
There's a whole thing about it.
There's a story about it, I'm sure.
Yeah, and whether or not they want to be a state or not.
Yeah.
It
doesn't matter. It's what I want.
I think they didn't want to. There's some who do, but we can't say they about an entire island of people, Johnny.
That's true. They could have many different viewpoints.
Yeah.
But Hawaii, listen, we got them. We decided. Hawaii, welcome to the fold. 50. It's a nice round number. Maybe that was part of it, do you think? We were looking for that 50th, we got to get 49. That's not right.
I just realized something, by the way.
What's that?
From the date. From 57, you said?
59.
59. That's interesting because you realized then the attack on Pearl Harbor was not on an actual U.S. state. I did not realize that.
Huh.
I mean, I never put it together before. You know what I'm saying? I guess
right. Because when was Pearl Harbor? 42? 41?
Yeah, December 7th, 41. So it's interesting.
So it was 18 years
So it's just a territory,
before.
I guess, at that point. Because we have, obviously, a major naval base there. So
right. It's just U.S. territory then.
Huh, interesting.
Not unlike Puerto Rico.
I wonder if it was a territory or if we just had a base. Then we have bases all over Europe and stuff,
Interesting.
There's no way to know.
We need to research this and come back to it. John, the first U.S. president to ride in an automobile happened this week, 1902. President, John?
1902? Mm-hmm. That's Theodore Roosevelt, isn't
Theodore Roosevelt. He toured Hartford, Connecticut. This is the part that I thought was interesting. In a Columbia electric Victoria.
Wow.
And it made me go wait a minute.
We started with
We had electric cars. Yeah, we started with electric cars. And if they had become more financially viable, there was a lot of mismanagement.
Yeah.
There were several electric companies to go along with internal combustion engine companies that were starting up then. And it was neck and neck. And it's just that, first of all, these were lead acid batteries. So it was unwieldy and not reliable. Yeah. But I looked it up because I was like, why didn't it work out? And some of these cars are still floating around. So I looked up some of the stats on it. It was a single electric motor, 48 volt array of lead acid batteries. So I don't know how many of them it took to get this car to go. It was rear wheel drive. The price when new was $1,600, around $44,000 in today's money. So this is not a cheap vehicle.
Range, 5 miles.
Basically a Tesla, because a Tesla now is about 40 grand.
Wow.
35, 40 grand. The top speed, John, guess.
For electric car, 1901?
1902 was when this was the first president to drive in it.
45.
15 miles per. So it's basically a golf cart. Basically a golf cart.
Okay.
So it's 15 miles per hour.
And he toured how far at 15 miles per hour?
It just said that he took it. I don't know. It said he toured Hartford, Connecticut. So it was one of those wave to the people.
Okay.
It's kind of a thing, probably. Just as a show of like.
Otherwise.
I believe in technology, whatever.
Yeah.
Get me off of this thing. 15 miles per hour. Anyway, yeah, it's interesting.
Basically, everywhere was a school zone for them.
It really was.
Yeah.
The school zones were like 2, probably. You can't.
Okay.
Yeah. John, finally this week, 1869, Cornelius Swartwout.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a guy who.
Swartwout.
Yeah. He patented the first U.S. waffle iron.
Oh.
Waffle iron, I thought this was interesting. Waffle irons originated in the Netherlands in the 1300s and were typically 2 hinged iron plates. Okay, I get that. Designed to be held over a hearth fire for baking. But this is the part that I liked. Many would also imprint elaborate patterns on the waffles, such as a coat of arms, landscapes, or religious symbols. Huh. Can you imagine getting a waffle? Which is odd, because wasn't it a thing where like somebody thought they saw, Mother Mary in their pancake or something?
Maybe they did.
Yeah.
Because it was,
Because it was a Mother Mary waffle iron. Anyway, it'd just be odd to have your family crest on your waffle.
Interesting.
In
the 1300s?
Yeah, this was 1300s.
So you're in the Middle Ages. I mean, imagine if you go back in time and you think, this is going to be just complete and total, just, primitive world. And you sit down at someone's table and they bring you, number one, a waffle. And number two, it's got a coat of arms on it. You'd be like, wow.
But I'm trying
to figure out. Where's the flat screen television?
I'm trying to figure out if it was 1300s and these were held over a fire, and then he gets his waffle iron patent in 1869. Okay, here's what his patent was. I'm reading further. Swartwout's patent was for an improvement on waffle irons, big quotes, which consisted of a novel handle for opening, closing, and turning a stovetop waffle iron. I think it's that little springy handle that doesn't conduct the heat. You know what I'm saying? That spring, for whatever reason, that doesn't get hot.
For the 500 years in between, people are just grabbing hot irons.
They're just grabbing hot irons like that guy in Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and getting the thing on their hand. Oh. And then they got the family crest, which makes you dig in the wrong place, as you know.
Come on.
Anyway, August 24th is celebrated in the U.S. as National Waffle Day because of this, because that's around the time of the patent.
Do you ever see a Waffle House that's out of place? Waffle houses are almost always near the interstates, Yeah. Sometimes I'll be driving and just
you're in the city limits somewhere.
Yeah, just a Waffle House right there.
I tell you what, it's always a beacon of hope to me, though.
Yeah.
We're big Waffle House fans in my family.
I like Waffle House.
And maybe that means we're garbage, but honestly, I've never had a bad meal at Waffle House. It's standardized.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's comfort
Now, you've
food.
had bad service.
Yeah. Well.
But not a bad meal.
It's comfort food, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, they got that, you know what I love? The cherry syrup. You can get a Diet Coke, and then they go, put some cherry in there for me. I'm on a diet, but let's not go crazy.
Throw some sugar in there.
Absolutely.
In that non-sugar drink.
Anyway, happy National Waffle Day to all those who celebrate.
Yeah, guys, put your crest on your waffle.
Speaking of celebrate, John, how many episodes have we done of this show? Over 300?
Well, I
think that's something to celebrate.
I want to say that we're at 3. This is 3. 20. I mean, like, it's up there. It's really too many.
John, how would you listen to those episodes?
Well, you go to talkaboutthatpodcast.com. Sorry, this is 322.
322?
Yeah. Talkaboutthatpodcast.com.
And you can listen to all the archived episodes. Click on that upper right-hand link if you want to support the show, get ad-free content that way. Bottom right-hand, you can send us a little note or just send an email to at talkaboutthatpodcast.com. We love to hear from you.
Yeah. Check out Jonnie W, JONNIEW.com for latest tour dates all over the country, guys. He did 4 shows last Sunday. 4
in one day in 2 different cities.
Yeah, you had to drive.
It was really dumb.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was, and the wife was with me too. Curry was with me, and she was haggard. That was a long day,
man.
Because she sat back at the old merch table and slung
it
t-shirt. Oh, she did. She took a cut. She skims. I'm watching her. We're gonna get a little security camera going. No, it was great. I will say this too. I've got some shows coming up, ticketed shows in Green Bay.
Oh.
Going to Lambeau maybe. Green Bay in October 4th. I will be there for 2 shows at Cup of Joy, which is a terrific venue there. And so you can get tickets at cupofjoy.com or at my website, JonnieW.com.
Well, it's a play on the words, by the way.
What is?
Cup of Joy.
Cup of Joy.
Instead of Cup of Joe, it's a...
I never noticed it.
Really?
I never noticed that.
Johnny.
Cup of Joe, Cup of Joy.
You literally write jokes and wordplays for
a
living.
Man, that's a good one.
That's why you need me here.
Cup of
see
Joy.
His face right now, guys. His face is a cup of joy.
It is. My whole face is... I need a cup of Joe. Evidently, I've been asleep this whole time.
It's okay, Johnny.
I'm sorry.
That's what this show's here for.
It is.
Everybody wake up.
It's an educational podcast.
It is.
Without meaning to be.
Everyone says it.
I'll do better next time.
Yeah. Hey, guys, thanks for giving us the time today. Let's do it again next week on
Talk About That.